Can everybody hear me? I can hear me as well. It's quite surreal. I'll carry on. Do you guys want to grab a seat? It's going to go on for about half an hour. Okay, basically, I'm not here to actually judge anyone. I'm just wondering what everyone's diets are in the audience. So let me kick off with... So, by raising your hands, can you let me know if you're a vegetarian? Okay. Can you let me know if you're a meat eater? Okay. Can you let me know if you are a raw foodist? Okay. Do we have any breatharians in tonight? And do we have I said vegans yet? No. How many vegans do we have tonight? Okay. Okay, so again, raising your hands, who is here? Who's here just to come and get the free stuff afterwards? Oh, that's good, that's good. Who is here to actually just come and laugh at my wavy arms that happen? Just for the record, this isn't comedy, but my arms are comedy. As I was saying, the free stuff that I'm giving away at the end has been donated to me, and so there's a nutrition booklets, recipes, a recipe club, and free DVDs, and they're all free to you guys. And I'd like you, if you do take some stuff, to please donate whatever you can, and if you can't afford to, then don't donate, but you know what I mean. And so I suppose I'll have to start now. So I started with quite a bold title for this. Some people might be a bit shocked by using the word improve, but hopefully by the end of the talk it will make sense, and a plant-based diet will improve the world. And so I'll begin. From the outset, I need to let everybody know that I'm not a nutritionist and I'm not a doctor. What I am is a guy with some ideas. So I know a little bit about physiology, and I know a little bit about the human body and stuff, but I'm not a doctor. Okay, so for those who aren't aware of what a plant-based diet is for me, it is a life without all animal products, and as you can see, I eat fruit, vegetables, nuts, seeds, beans, and another sort of term is herbivorous. Okay, now is the time for the food quiz. Basically what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask each question one by one, and I'll ask you guys to answer A, B or C to each question. What this is to just sort of get you thinking about what you know about your body, sort of hopefully break some misconceptions that I personally used to have, and maybe people do or don't have. Okay, so the first question is, on average, what percentage of the human body is water? Is it closer to 30%? Is it closer to, on average, what percent of a human body is water? A, closer to 30%, B, closer to 60%, or C, closer to 90%. So, who in the room thinks that it's A? Okay? And who in the room thinks that it's B? Okay? And who in the room thinks that it is C? Okay? The actual answer is B. A human body is actually 60%, it's closest to 60% water. Okay, so number two, how many hours does it generally take food to digest in the stomach? This comes from the British Medical Association. Is it A, half an hour to 1 hour, B, 1 hour to 3 hours, or C, 3 hours to 4 hours? Okay, so again, who thinks it's A? And who thinks it... Did you say A? No, I just saw a movement. I saw a movement. Okay, who thinks it is B? Okay, and who thinks that it is C? Okay, for the record, the British Medical Association say that it is B. 1 to 3 hours is the general average of the amount of time that it takes food to digest in the body. in your stomach. Sorry. Question 3. What has more protein content? Is it A, 100 grams of sun-packed peanut butter? Is it B, 100 grams of co-op tuna in brine? Or is it C, 100 grams of organic carrots? So, who in the room thinks that it is A, 100 grams of sun-packed peanut butter? Okay, cool. And who thinks that it is B, the tuna? Okay. And who in the room thinks that it is C, 100 grams of carrots? Okay. The actual answer is A. There's more protein content in 100 grams of sun-packed peanut butter. For me, for a long time, I personally believed that all meat contained the most amount of protein, but the more I've sort of investigated, that isn't entirely true. And so this is an example of, peanut butter actually has more than the tuna does. Okay, so question 4. Vitamin C helps aid iron absorption, but which fruit contains the most vitamin C? Of A, kiwi, B, orange, or C, guava? So who in the room thinks that a kiwi has the most vitamin C? Okay. And who thinks that oranges have the most vitamin C? Okay. And who thinks that guava has the most vitamin C? The answer is actually guava, and I checked this morning, and guava has 4 times the amount of vitamin C than orange juice, but I don't see that written anywhere, so that's why I've included that question. Okay, the start of the talk, I had a jigsaw piece, and the reason I included a jigsaw piece is because my perception of a plant-based diet is kind of like when you have all the different jigsaw pieces, so information and ideas and that sort of thing. What happens is, for me, it will make up a more improved world. And so what happened for my experience, 4 years ago, I was on my way to work and it was raining, and as usual I was probably late and that kind of thing, and this guy came up to me and he said, well, he didn't come up to me, as I was walking he said, would I like to buy a recipe book? And I said, yeah, go on, and I'll buy you a recipe book, try it out. And basically what happened was, I bought the Higher Taste, and it's a very cheap book if you do want to buy it, but basically this book was more than just a recipe book. It was a bit of philosophy, there was a bit of religion in there, and it started talking about big facts. This book actually started looking at reality as well, and made me really, really think about where my food was coming from and what I was putting into my body. And it started talking about living beings and how it highlighted the fact that I was at the time eating living beings, and that sort of triggered off all these ideas in my head, like, am I really doing that? Should I be doing that? Is it right to do that? And these sort of things. So it was kind of like, it was an exciting time. There was all these questions that started arising. So some of the things it was talking about, so factory farming and how animals are treated and stuff, I kind of knew about, and I'd sort of forgot. And then I was like, okay, what I'll do is I'm going to, I don't want to do this. I don't want to be a part of causing these things to happen to animals. So what I did is I started off with a vegetarian diet, and I was like, okay, what I'll do is I'll do it as an experiment on my body and my mind to see what will happen if I do this. And gradually, so this is 4 years later, and I feel physically and mentally better than I did before. And so that's why I carried on, and I always will carry on. Since I've sort of started changing my diet and looking into diet, I've had some pretty strange reactions to what I'm doing. So one of my friends, I was on the phone to him, and he said, I was just talking to him, but I was like, I don't want that meal tonight because I'm a vegetarian. And he said, you can't be a vegetarian, Bertie. They don't survive. You'll die. To be honest, obviously I'm still here, and vegetarians do live. And I met some vegetarians. In fact, I met some vegans over the summer, and they were thriving. They were like very sporty, very active people. So it's not about surviving; it's about thriving. Another person, this guy I actually work with, he said eating meat is how it is. It's the natural order of things. If you think about it logically, eating is not a natural order, it's a choice. You know, you go into a supermarket and you choose to shop in this aisle or you choose to shop in that aisle. So it's not a natural order. Another thing that people do, quite a few people have said this to me actually, you can't do that or we'll have cows and sheep running wild all over the place. Well, basically, if we go out to Dartmoor now, we will see cows and we will see sheep and we will see horses running wild. So my choice of diet isn't actually just on taste and that kind of thing. I'm actually quite interested in sustainability, and there's a lot of stuff out there that says that a plant-based diet is more sustainable than a meat-based diet. And so I was like, okay, so there's information about it, but I want to go that extra step. And so what I did is I spoke to my friend who works on a farm and got some sort of primary research. And basically he works on a dairy and cattle and wheat farm. And so I asked him about the beef, and they are basically raised for 2 years before they're taken to abattoirs. And wheat only takes 1 year to grow, so basically you can have twice the yield in 1 year. And also on top of that, the cows take more water and more feed to produce, so it's not sustainable. Okay, so ethics is, excuse me, that's my dinner coming back. So I'm honest, I'm an honest guy. Probably too honest, but anyway, ethics is quite an interesting topic. And similarly, what I've brought along is I brought along a jigsaw piece for everybody, and basically what happens is in the UK we eat 2 million cattle per year, and that equates to actually 3 cows per minute of the whole year. And for me that doesn't need to happen, it doesn't need to be that way. So essentially that's why I'm giving the talk today. So as I said earlier, I was talking about factory farms, and I don't think they're nice places. I think they're more of a business personally than they are about the care of animals. And then that leads on to the lie of free range. The person that I spoke to who works on a farm, he did a bit of work for a free range chicken company, and basically he didn't like it there, I'm just being honest, but when he was working there he was moving the chickens around and stuff like that. And to get the label free range, all the chickens get of sunlight is 45 minutes a day. So they shoo them out of the barn for 45 minutes a day, and then they shoo them back in. And then what they can do is they can sell it as free range. So that's for eggs and for the meat. Another thing that isn't sustainable is trawler net fishing, because we have these big nets that pick up all the fish. We just pull out the tuna and the other fish become extra, we don't need them, so they just get wasted instead of being left in the sea where they were. Okay, false perceptions. When I started becoming vegetarian, I had this kind of weird, I had this exact perception of vegans. I thought that vegans were actually tree huggers who must be really malnourished. I actually lived most of my life on a vegan diet, and I'm not malnourished. I haven't hugged any trees, so it's just, and that was me, that was my perception then. And what happened is I had another perception. Now I have this other perception, and I don't know any tree hugging vegans who are malnourished. Okay, so entailed in looking into a plant-based diet, I'm quite a sporty person. I run, I play football, I cycle, I walk lots. I go surfing whenever I can as well. And so sport is a big part of my life. And so, I'm an example of how people can live on a plant-based diet. And I'm not the only one, because these guys are also vegans as well. So the Williams sisters who won gold at the Olympics, and then we've got a professional arm wrestler, and we've got a weightlifter. More inspiring people are this guy called Tim Van Orden. At the end, I'm giving out with the booklet, I'm also giving out a recommended list for people who are interested. So eating out in Plymouth, where you can buy fruit and veg from, books, links online. So don't take my word for it tonight. if you're interested, have another look and go that extra step. And Tim Van Orden is a raw vegan. For those who don't know, that means that he doesn't cook food. And if you told me that a year ago, that people live without cooking food, I would have laughed. And now more and more I'm meeting raw vegans, and for me it's a really interesting diet. But back to Tim. Tim has been doing his raw thing for a few years now, and he is winning lots of things. So in 2011 he won the USA Masters Mountain Run of the Year. And more inspiring people are Fiona Oakes, who's a marathon runner, and Linda McCartney, who has a lot to do with animal rights. Okay, as I was saying earlier about my sort of progression, this is my path so far. Okay, so this is my path so far, and so 4 years ago I was up here, and what I did is I really liked fish for a long time. I like salmon, I like fish cake, so I was like, okay, I'll give that vegetarian thing a go, but I'm going to keep my salmon and I'm going to keep my fish cakes because they're good, and they tasted good at the time. And then one of my friends, who is a bit of a ledge, basically said, he sort of questioned me, he said, Bertie, you said that you wanted to become a vegetarian because you didn't want to involve animals, and fish are animals too. And I was like, you've got me. You're right. I didn't even realise that. So at that point, at that point I didn't think they were animals. I just thought of them as some food I could eat. And so what I did is I stayed true to what I said in the first place. So I carried on, and I moved on to a vegetarian diet. And then about a year ago, just before Christmas, running up to Christmas, I was like, actually, those ideas that I had in the first place, I'm still not living them. I'm still not holding them true. I'm still eating the cheese and I'm still drinking the milk because it's convenient. And then so what I started doing, I was like, okay, why not, like I did before, experiment and see what happens if I take it that next step further. And so what I did is I moved to a plant-based diet, which is fully a life without animal products. And my personal experience is I feel better than I did a year ago. So, that's all I can say is that I feel much better for it. It's down to the individual to try it out and, see it for yourselves. As I said, there's other diets out there as well that are quite interesting. Raw vegan, and you've got your fruitarians on the side as well. Anybody who is interested in changing your diet, my analogy of changing your diet is kind of like driving a car. Basically, you need to do a bit of theory first, in my eyes. And you need to do sort of research, and you need to do and then you can do some practice lessons in the form of recipes, so trying out some new stuff, finding out what your taste buds love, and that kind of thing. And then when you're ready, you can fully drive. You wouldn't drive a car without some theory and practice first. What I do, actually, is I like to check out what's going on inside my body as well. So I go and get blood tests. So I've had my iron done, I've had my vitamin D, and I've had my B12, just so I can, on the outside, if I'm feeling good, that's good. On the inside, I want to feel good as well and know that my levels are all good. So what happened for me is that there were a few cravings along the way, and there were relapses. But basically, as long as you're on the right track as you're going, it's all good. And with motivation and willpower, it is possible. And the best words that you can use. Excuse me again. The best words that you can take on board are sort of no, and I'm okay, thanks, because my personal experience is there's lots of temptation out there, and people will, test you and offer you things and banter you and badger you and that kind of thing, and then sometimes you can give in, but other times you can go, actually, I'm going to, this is what I want to do and I'm going to stick with it. So in the case of would you like a custard cream? No, I'm all good because I've got milk in them, and I'm not into that. So, and there's other examples down there. Okay, so quite an interesting word, the old switcheroo. What I call the switcheroo is because it's a good little helper. What you do is I didn't really change what I was eating. I just did a little switcheroo. So basically, at the moment, I love coconut milk. So on my cereals, I have coconut milk, and it's just I don't need dairy milk. And then what have I had recently? I had sausages the other night, just used Linda McCartney. And at the bottom, there are some exciting recipes, and the recipes that I'll be giving out at the end, to sort of show you that it's not just about bland food. Okay, here I have a graph of, for me, of the sort of scales of why people shouldn't stay on the two diets, on a plant-based diet and a meat and dairy diet. And for me, a plant-based diet is more ethical, more sustainable, more ecological, cheaper, beneficial to all animals, can be convenient. Both of them are convenient if you learn how to, well, no, not learn, but if you cook in bulk and put it in the freezer and that kind of thing, it's helpful, and it can help heal. And both of them taste good. And as you know, obviously, hopefully, you all guys all enjoy tonight. So, eating-wise, so that tastes good as well. The great thing about doing these talks, apart from having burps all the way through, the other ones are never burped through. This is the first. But anyway, the revelations that I've had from friends and people who've come to the talks have been really great. So the woman from the first public talk came up to me and said, "Bertie, there is no reason why I haven't stopped drinking milk. I just have to do it." Me and one of my friends went to Bristol Veggie Fest, which was awesome. There was lots of vegan food everywhere, free music, free food. And so I invited a couple of my friends who live in Bristol to come and join us. And I went to one of the nutrition talks that was going on the day. And they had a little wander round at Bristol Veggie Fest. I went to a nutrition talk by Juliet Galati, actually, the brochures that I'm giving out later. So I went to this talk, and they had a little wander around the rest of the festival, and they went up to a milk and dairy store, and they basically, the reality that they saw had such a profound effect on them that they just were like, "Well, I don't need that anymore, and I don't want to be involved." So they said, since seeing that stall about the dairy industry, I don't want to eat dairy anymore. I don't want to eat anything dairy. We've already planned what we're taking out of our fridge. And then the same people, through the tasters they had that day, they said, we didn't realise there are so many alternatives and they taste so good as well. Okay, as I said at the beginning and tried to fill in halfway through, that I've got a load of free stuff at the back to give away to you guys. There's about 20 nutrition booklets, and they include, inside there is leaflets about it's an A4 piece of paper with recommendations, books, web, shopping in Plymouth, eating out in Plymouth, informational websites, online videos, and there's free recipes, and there's 10 DVDs to give away, but the DVD is actually free online to those who just prefer to watch it online as well. Okay. So, in my opinion, a plant-based diet can and will improve the world. That is the end of the talk. Does anybody have any questions?
Do you count what you wear as like being vegan as well? Like, say, do you choose not to wear leather and wool and stuff, or do you?
Yes. Yeah, no, I do. I'm also interested in the glues and stuff as well.
Okay.
So shoes, I've been holding back on the next pair of shoes I buy because I didn't want to buy a pair that included glues that included animals and in their manufacture. Thanks for listening, guys.